Hi,
Hey,
Mr.
Tim. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good to have you on.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Very kind of you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, mate. I'll tell about you a little bit in a couple of minutes while we wait for all the listeners to join. But yeah, I've been following you not for not such a long time, only for like 3 months or 2 months now. But I've been really enjoying your feed, and yeah, really wanted to have you on. So it's my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, mate? How's your day?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Just had a nice nap.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's good.
yeah, all very relaxed. Was just reading about the good news about Russia legalizing cryptocurrency. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're just gonna continue doing everything they can to piss off the West and avoid sanctions and whatever.
Yeah. Also, legalizing all the mining is great. Uh,
Yeah, and electricity
especially
in Russia is very cheap, so
also because they have the climate where it's cold. For the
yeah,
for the mining rigs, and indeed they have a lot of excess electricity, also from nuclear power plants. So yeah, it's good news. It's going the
yeah. I
right
think
way.
they're one of the last few countries that are really pro-nuclear.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, I
How
think we can
have
just
you been?
me, I'm good. I'm good. Had a great trading session this morning. It was actually really fun to trade volatility with all the numbers. I love every day that we have data like today. Um, and yeah, hopefully I'm gonna finish my day on a good note as well.
Yeah, good.
All right, well, we can jump right in. Well, to all of our listeners, welcome to another episode of Spill the Alpha. This is the 30th episode, so that's a very big milestone for us. To all of our listeners that keep coming back, thank you a lot. It really does mean a lot. I'm really happy to see names that I start recognizing. So, yeah, thanks a lot for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know Tim for, like I said, for a couple of months now. I think most of you who did get to know him probably saw his big tweet about Dubai and about his experience there. And I've been really enjoying all of his long form tweets, both about markets, about inner development, about market philosophy. I think this is one of the very unique accounts on crypto Twitter. So if you don't follow Tim, make sure to check that out, check his profile out, and give him a follow. Um, and yeah, I also want to remind all of our listeners that have right now the last round of the IDEX trading competition. This is the testnet competition. So if you are interested in winning some cash prize money for trading with the paper money, make sure to check the IDEX account. Make sure to follow them, join the Discord, whitelist yourself, join the competition. And yeah, like I said, this is the last competition we're going to have, giving out 500,000 IDEX tokens. That's worth around $200,000, $250,000. So yeah, worth checking that out. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we can just jump right into everything. Um, so yeah, Tim, I want to ask about your beginnings. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you actually get into crypto? And was there a particular event or person that inspired you to, dive into the whole field?
Well, first of all, thank you. So I was living on my mountain, renting a little cabin for 50 euro a day on Airbnb. And I got invited by a friend end of 2016, October 2016, to go to Germany. So I went to Germany and we ended up in some bar. I didn't know how we ended up there. And I was talking to some I ended up talking to a Chinese guy who's totally wasted on tequila. And he basically asked me, "Hey man, you know about Ethereum?" I said, Ethereum, what's that? I said, do you know Bitcoin? I said, yeah, I know Bitcoin, but haven't looked into it. I said, well, that's the future, man. So he wrote it down for me on like a beer filter thing, and I put that in my pocket, forgot about it, went home, saw it, the thing, put it on my laptop, investigated for 3 months, really seriously into this. And at the end of 2016, put all my savings, which I'd saved hard because I had a really small car, lived on my mountain, grew my own food, and put $10,000 at 6 in Ethereum. So thanks to some anonymous Chinese guy, which I've never been able to locate again, I got into Ethereum at 6 with $10,000.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
I kept it the whole year. And then another friend recommended me when things were going crazy, hey, cash out half. And because which now my wife, during the whole run of Ethereum, I was with her in Central America, and I was looking at it. It's like, what is happening here? This is crazy. The thing was like 400, back to 120, up again to 1,000. I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? This is insane, you know? And so a friend of mine, he recommended me to cash out a half, which I did end of 2017.
Good timing.
Yeah, I was very grateful to him. And the other half, like next year, went down like 95%. You know, keeping it in alts and other things. So that kind of piqued my interest. I was like, this is really crazy. You know, this is really volatile. What is happening here? I have to understand this market. I mean, everyone's wiped out. I somehow, by some luck, also managed to survive. And I started looking into this more. So that's how it began.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, sometimes going to a bar is good luck.
Yeah, really. Like I had no idea. I didn't know anything about cryptocurrency. I didn't know anything. And also the luck that I bought then on Kraken, and almost the whole year I just kept it on Kraken. I could have kept it on any other shitty exchange, which would have collapsed. But I didn't even know about ledges back then. I didn't know anything, like nothing. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, you've
However,
been really.
It did appear in my life when I was getting trouble renting the cabin in my gardens, because the government here told me, hey, you can't rent that cabin, and it was getting so popular in Airbnb that I got fined because I didn't have the right permit. So I did actually sit down once, meditating in the garden, and kind of send out the desire, you know, into the universe. Hey, it would be nice if something else would appear in my life, which I could do in home, which was kind of also combine being at home and my interest in geopolitics and economics. And I kind of let it go and never thought of it again. But a year later, I thought, hey, crypto is kind of, you know, against the political system, economics, can do it from home. So in a way, that wish came true. The desire which got sent out.
That's awesome. I mean, it really fits your ideas and like your own ideologies. So perfect fit. When do you feel like you started to transition into like just embracing yourself as a crypto investor? Was it at this point where you had the trouble and you just told yourself, that's it, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Well, I never decided that really. Well, after 2017, when I had made some nice money, the first thing what I did was to go on a kind of bucket list trip to visit some amazing places. And spend also a lot of time on retreats on my own, a dark room retreat, going to visit masters I wanted to visit in the world, which I didn't have the money to visit, buying a lot of books, which were hard to get. And when I started realizing that most people were losing everything in 2018, I was like, hey, this is interesting. Because I did understand Bitcoin was not going to disappear. So I did realize, hey, I'm learning something important here. And that's when I decided, well, I can't rent a cabin anymore. Let's see how this goes. So I got more serious, you know. Got into reading a lot more about it, hours a day, got a proper computer, got a proper setup, started connecting with some people, joined the Discord group. But always keeping in my mind that being too active with finance would also bring me a lot of unrest. So I kind of structured it really well. It would be like waking up in the morning, doing my meditation, reading 2 hours on crypto, taking a break, going for a walk, reading again, and so learning more about the space. Really grinding down, reading as much as I could about it.
Yes.
And not doing a lot of short-term trading. I was really shocked that I lost 95% in 2000 of that 50% that I kept in the market. And I was like, hey, I used to have 10,000 and now I have so much more. So, and I still had this very simple lifestyle with very low costs. And I was like, okay, let's just wait a bit before jumping in here, because I really want to understand this before I'm going to burn the other 50%. You know, I really must know what's happening here, because if I burn the other 50%, then I'm back to renting the cabin, which I can't rent anymore.
Yeah.
It would be kind of a pity. So having lost a lot as well didn't cause me serious pain because of I was internally right, but did kind of put me in my place. It humbled me, and it showed me to take it easy and be patient. And I stayed patient until 2020 almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think probably one of the reasons that you managed to stay patient is because you were really focused on balancing your life, right? With like not getting too dragged into the markets and like separating your daily living and your work with crypto. Because a lot of people start trading and getting into crypto, make some money, and that's it. The market gets them, and they're just perpetually online. And yeah, it can be pretty toxic.
Yeah. Also, for example, this week, a lot of people probably listening on here lost money. And then people, they go through heavy emotional turbulence and just jump right into it. 99% who got wiped out 5 days ago is leverage long, popcat, and whiff again. So it's part of the game, but yeah, it's costly for many people.
Yeah, 100%.
To put it mildly, if you can be patient, because
Yeah.
hey, we're still in the range. We could have the news any moment that some kind of strike from Iran happens again. Who knows what will happen? And I think if you lost a lot of money in this blowout, you can also wait until Bitcoin goes over all-time high again and then start trading when it's a lot easier again. If you're not very good at trading yet, who cares if why would you start trading short-term in an agonizing range, which has wiped out even some of the best traders, while you can just wait until there's a clear break above all-time high and then just ride the market and take it easy for 6 months. So and that's why I always come back to telling people, okay, take it easy, perspective, sit down, calm yourself. If you play this game long-term in crypto, a couple of years, you'll make it. This market is going to get a lot bigger still.
Yeah, and it's this thing about a lot of books that I've read, a lot of traders that I appreciate have said that it's not about catching the whole move, it's catching 80% or 75% of the move, and you're already going to be outperforming 90+% of people that are participating. And the best way to visualize those things is just to look at any other big moves that we've had before. And you'll be able to see that there's a lot of easy ways to define when those moves are starting, and it's and you have an opportunity to just jump in without having to pico bottom tick enter into the markets, right?
Totally. I mean, look at what I consider a real legend like Bob Lucas, a calm person. You can feel listening to his voice when he does his YouTube videos that this is a person who's very grounded in himself. He just plays a psych on me. The guy now, even with the wipeout, he was just on holiday. He bought low, sells high, plays the cycles. It makes a lot of money and sounds generally calm at ease and happy, and provides tremendous value to the space as well doing that. And just listening to him, learning from him, I'm like, hey, if I play these cycles well, then I can actually also financially be fine from that. Also,
Yeah.
also because my cost of living is pretty low. But I mean, you play two crypto cycles pretty well, and you got some nice return.
Yeah, it's actually amazing to see that you stuck to your origins with your style of living, because I've known a lot of people who made a lot of money in crypto, and it really changes them. You know, it's
Yeah,
it's rare to see people that don't let money change them. So that's nice.
I mean, my of course, if we don't have any material wealth, then we're stuck in a fight or survival mode for food and for a roof over our heads and opportunity. So yes, a certain basic of material necessity is necessary for survival and moving along. But a large part of the world population has this, and a lot of the people that start doing crypto have more than enough of this. So they kind of jump into the space wanting more, not having any internal balance, which then goes wrong, thinking that more money will make them more happy. Well, the trick is if you can't be happy with the basics, then you're never going to be content
Yeah.
having a lot. And now that sounds like, oh yeah, but I'll be a bit happy. I'm not just talking about being happy and smiling. I'm really talking about taking your life to the next level, to really being able to be powerfully, emotionally balanced, learning how to feel energy, being profoundly content with yourself, um, being able to feel and not have this need for more all the time in your head. And since this is a space full of a lot of young people, yeah, it's inevitable that these things happen. So and that's why I also thought, hey, maybe we'll start sharing some of this stuff online and we'll see what happens. Like, I never thought this account would get so big, but hey, here we are, huh?
Yeah, I saw a post you made, I think it was yesterday, about being happy. And I really agree with this perspective. And I also wrote a post about it a couple of days ago that, people thinking that money will bring them happiness, and it's really crushing to see that process, because most of them, if they do reach that monetary level that they're aiming for, uh, it usually crushes them once they realize it changed nothing, you know. Um,
And
so
then
yeah.
and then the vices go. So I've received dozens, probably 100 plus, like whales from crypto here on my mountain over the years, and also a lot of it. So basically, average one a week I do. That's the max me and my wife do. So people come here, they stay in a hotel nearby, or they stay in a Airbnb nearby. They come in the morning, we talk, do some lunch, show the forest garden, and have a walk in the mountain. If they stay long, we go to the beach, we talk what they're struggling with, how they're feeling, um, things like that. If they're friends I know personally, they can stay in the cabins, also in the garden. And I had people here that have hundreds of millions, tens of millions, billions. People that lost with Luna, a guy who lost 61 million, who had it all staked. And all of them, they're still searching for themselves. Well, but anyway, that's also the whole reason for someone like the Buddha left, right? He had
Yeah.
everything, he was a prince, and so yeah. And a lot of them, they suffer from the same things. Once they have all that money, and then the attention seeking starts. Usually the vices begin. Once the vices are gone and they get a other balanced life, then they start getting really into other strange beliefs or vices, which can be sex related, we can be being with a lot of men or women, which can be related to material things, which are moved to toxic places. Well, I always say, hey, now you finally have the money. Time to turn inside, time to become really content. So then we sit down, do some energy exercise, and people hey, whoa, there's an entire other side of I didn't know. So there's things I can feel I didn't even thought were possible. There's levels of contentment to reach that I didn't even know existed. And so a lot of people, they go back and just continue their life because they don't dedicate enough time. If you spend tens of thousands of hours making money, it's really hard to let that go and actually start doing something else. But if you
Yeah,
spend
exactly.
sitting down enough time and really then these people become really wealthy in a way that they discover another way of being. And then afterwards, they still have the money. I'm not saying, hey, you have a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money, give it all away because that's needed to find yourself. No. Park it on the bank, park it in Bitcoin, park it on stables, whatever you want, and just dedicate serious time to yourself. And if you have the resources, go visit masters, do retreats, but don't go to Dubai thinking that a yacht and a Ferrari and who knows what will make you happy. because it won't. It won't. And anyone can see it. Anyone can see that. And
some people have to learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
Well, talking about struggles, I want to go back to your journey and your beginning in crypto. Can you share any significant mistakes or any general challenges that you went through in your early days of trading or investing, rather? And what do you feel like you've learned from those?
Let me think. Okay, so the most destructive mistake I barely escaped from, and which I've seen many people that came here lost insane amount of money, is staking with long unstaking times. Which means I had my Luna staked, and luckily I had it unstaked on time. And luckily also on Anchor, where I literally had like millions. I made a rule for myself: if the collateral Luna goes too close to UST, which was the stable coin from Luna back then that means that UST, the value of it, which came from Luna, is actually worth more than the collateral, which is Luna. So when I saw Luna, the value going down and down, approaching UST, I unstaked my Anchor and put it all in USDT. But if that Anchor would not have had immediate unstaking, but 21 days unstaking like Luna had, I would have lost everything. And I know a lot of people that had everything staked in Luna, in Osmo, in Cosmos, in all these kind of things where you couldn't do immediate unstaking for a price. They lost it all. Guys, 61 million, 30 million. I mean, people were devastated. Almost more than 20 people killed themselves in South Korea with Luna. It's pretty crazy what we know of. So first huge, I always recommend don't do fixed staking times. We just saw how fast this market can move, One day 64K to 29K and back up again. But who knows, maybe there was a massive financial crisis, Black Swan, and you do want to sell for a while, then you can't do it because you're staked. So that's a huge mistake. The second one is, of course, jumping into leverage trading, thinking you know what you're doing, and using too much leverage. Of course, leverage is great, and you can use. I use it too in my daily trading if you know what you do, but most people don't. So you want to take it easy with that and properly learn first before doing that.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of people listening, they probably know that you look at a screen and you're like, kind of get addicted to it. It's like a kind of subtle kind of stress looking at a screen, which kind of triggers dopamine. So basically what happens is, what most people don't know, they think, oh, I'm just addicted to the content from the screen. That's not actually the case. When your electric field is connecting to the screen, which is also an electric field, and that screen is vibrating, it creates a subtle kind of stress. And this stress triggers kind of dopamine, because you can literally get addicted to stress. So taking a break regularly from the screen is not just a break from the content with everything which is coming out from Twitter and the news and all the time being active. It's literally disconnecting your bioelectric field from your body, from your mind, from being connected to an electrical device with your attention. So taking a break is every 15 minutes looking away from the screen, every 30 minutes, going outside, putting your feet in the ground, going to a garden, really disconnecting, doing something else is absolutely crucial. I remember in 2000, 2020 even. At one point I was like, man, I'm doing way too much hours of computer. I would just do hours, and at one point I just kept going, and I'm like, I'm high on dopamine and adrenaline.
Yeah, probably late 2020, early 2021.
I'm like, I'm high on dopamine and adrenaline. I'm addicted. I'm not taking enough breaks. So, and even though I was doing my meditation, I've seen a lot of people, they slowly get burned out. So if you combine all these things, also then you have, of course, I lost, well, thanks to a friend who warned me on time about FTX. I had quite a lot of money in FTX, pulled it out through Solana because USDT was already empty, Bitcoin, Ether, nothing was working. I thought, okay, Tim, think, what's nobody doing? Put it all in Solana, send it out, managed to get 90% out, the other rest. So, of course, the usual tips: don't put all in one exchange, get your security in order, I once made a whole tweet about this, about all these things. And you want to take that serious about, I know most people are now again, oh yeah, almost lost it all, hoppa, all in Bybit again, max long on Popcat. Yeah. What if Bybit collapses? How can you still keep going then in crypto? You know?
Yeah.
So
It's a really good, like I remember that when I was still early in my trading game, I had all my money on one exchange, and then when the COVID crash happened, thankfully I could still continue doing whatever I wanted to. But I had a lot of friends who had all their money on BitMEX, and they were just paralyzed. You know, you can't do anything, you can't trade, you can't buy, you can't sell, and they were just waiting for everything to just calm down and the exchange to go back online. And that's when I realized how important it is to have have a few exchanges that you have money sitting on, or just have everything in self custody, whatever it is. Just being reliant on one third party is really dangerous, especially in this field.
totally. Being
Yeah, and
dependent.
people forget it, and like we just had FTX collapsing, and people already forgot it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you
Absolutely.
made another great point.
Also the one has to realize that you're confronted with lies all the time in this space. Lies on Twitter, influencers lying. Everyone is like, wow. If I look at my chart here, Ethereum went to 1900. I could have bought that. Man, look at that. That's a candle of 1 minute. Most exchanges were down one. No one got filled there. Maybe a few people, and who was just looking. So this psychologically is then, oh, I didn't buy that low. But if you look, it was only there like, who knows, half an hour maybe. So really, really, these extreme wicks up and down, nobody catches them really. And that's also psychological part. It's people that then say, I did cut the bottom, everything. You're being lied to all the time. People trying to steal from you, grift you, rug pull you, all that. So you have to really build immunity, mental immunity. Be your own man or woman. Get grounded, do your inner practice, and realize that the financial and crypto space is very toxic, and that you really have to cast your own path. It has to be based on your own inner strength and inner peace, and not on what you see and what other people are doing. Because if you start doing what other people are doing, you're going to get absolutely right. Mentally, financially, absolutely.
Yeah. And you made another really good point, especially about the leverage. And it's something that people jump to very, very fast. I mean, exchanges nowadays, they really push you into trading with leverage, obviously, because they're making great money from it. But if you're not profitable trading spot, you're not going to be profitable trading leverage. And honestly, I think most people shouldn't even touch leverage. And and if you do use leverage, use like 1x, 2x at most, just to be able to, short, for example. But at the end of the day, we just had a 40% correction on ETH. We had a 30% correction on Bitcoin, and like even people using 3x could have been wiped if you bought the top, you know.
Absolutely.
So you're not safe. And trading leverage, it's a tool to just increase the percentage of your trading performance. So if you lose money on spot, you're gonna lose money even faster trading leverage. So
Also depends how you can use your leverage. You know, the pro traders, they can use it well. Depends on your system and all that.
yeah,
I
exactly.
have a little account on exchange. I always recommend that to people. I say, okay, make a sub account which you can call it buy the dip account. I have that account for years, and I don't share my short-term trading. I just deploy a bit when everyone's selling. You know, when I know I want to throw in the towel, I just put in money like during this crash, and I just sell it on the bounce, boom, immediately. That I just have written down. Tim, if everyone wants to sell and goes insane, buy a bit and sell immediately on the bounce. Make 5 or 10%, good. Also, I have a little account where I do leverage with times 3, times 5, but I've always promised myself if that account goes to zero, I will never do leverage again with another amount. So what I do, let's say I have a 20,000 euro in a trade or 100,000 euro in a trade or who knows how much. And thanks to that leverage, I double it. Then I'm not putting again that amount with more leverage. I'm always also taking some profit. So if that account then does go to zero, then I at least have taken some profit out. So, but I take it really easy with that leverage, except if I see an exceptional opportunity. Also, when GCR was, for example, still posting about certain coins and he was shorting it, I was like, oh, okay, we'll go times 10 here. It's too easy. If I see certain news events which can trigger, and I'm on the computer, sometimes I do a bit more leverage, but I take it easy with that. It's only 5% of my total net worth, so yeah, I've seen too many people. I mean, as I posted, I talked 2 people out of killing themselves this week because they lost it all with leverage.
Yeah,
And
that's insane.
that's the reason I came back. I'm like, you're thinking about ending your life, your eye consciousness. The reason you came into this beautiful world, which is tough, I know, but it's tough, and that's why you came into this world, to figure out why you're actually here. And you're thinking of killing yourself because you did leverage on some shit coins. Just saying that to people and letting that sink in, then
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
they're already not going to do it anymore. I mean, it's your life. Like life, existence, the most beautiful thing there is in this. You're born with it. Your mother breastfed you, spent years taking care of you. Your parents spent years taking care of you. Maybe you came from another country as a refugee. There's opportunities everywhere. There's hundreds of millions, billions of people living in poverty, selling their body to take care of their children, doing horrible work in mines, and they're all hanging in there for a better future. And you're considering killing yourself because you did leverage? I mean, come on, let's just
Yeah.
be also easy at the space with venting all the crap, because it's more important things in life.
Yeah, and that's why the best approach to any leveraged account is you just write it off as if it doesn't exist. And you tell yourself that you put into that account only the money you're literally willing to lose, and you don't care what happens with it. Obviously, you're going to try to do your best and make money, but you just have to be prepared, knowing that you can have a 25% down move overnight, especially on shitcoins. You could have a 50% down move overnight, right? Um, so you just have to be ready for it, and yeah. And we actually had Blog Race talking about it today. He posted saying that trading spot is always going to be the best move for people. And then someone, because he's famous for making a lot of money with WIF, and someone posted how WIF is down like 70% from the all-time high or something like that. And I replied to him saying, "What is your point?" That's literally, you're proving his point. Even if you would trade on WIF, yes, you would be down 70% of your spot if you bought a Pico top. But if you would be trading with leverage, you would be liquidated and have nothing left. It's better to be left with 30% than have nothing.
I mean, why did GCR post that he only doesn't use leverage? I mean, this guy became a multi-billionaire doing crypto.
Yeah. And dude, we have such a volatile market. Honestly, anyone thinking that you have to use leverage to make it in this space it's just bullshit because even on Bitcoin on an Ether, we just had a 25% down move, which is a great dip to buy. It means Solana bounced like 30%. That's 30% on your portfolio in a couple of days. Yeah, we have ETH moving up 15%, Bitcoin moving up almost 20%. And obviously that's like pico bottom calculations and whatever, but still you have crazy swings. And even just trading spot, as long as you're careful, as long as you're in tune with the market, you can make great money. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to move a little bit towards the whole crypto philosophy. So you said you really liked how crypto was aligning with your ideas and your ideologies about life and living and everything. Do you feel that crypto is still the same? Because, have there been times when the evolving of the crypto world conflicted with those values and, added stress to your life maybe, or things like that?
Well, it never added stress to my life because otherwise I wouldn't do it. I mean, I receive burnout crypto traders and people looking for answers on my mountain because I like it. I try to help people, so I kind of invite suffering in my home so I can help people to move along and so they become content. So no, it doesn't stress me. But yeah, Bitcoin is of course great. Everyone knows the fiat system is totally rotten, and that it affects many parts of the world. And Bitcoin is a great alternative. Will it fix all these problems? No, it won't, because a lot of these problems have to be fixed on the inside. As I always say, a nasty monkey with fiat is still a nasty monkey with Bitcoin. But yes, of course, you can feel the ideology got less. This cycle is like, also I posted a couple of weeks ago that I was out of here, I had enough of it, because all the shit with the memes and more scams. And of course, it was bad in 2017 too. It was bad in 2021 too. It's just the incessant lying. The people who dedicate so much time to creating millions of meme coins on Solana. Come on, I mean, dedicate your time to something more serious. I'm not a good programmer or anything, but I dedicate my time to educating people about their mental state so they can keep their Bitcoins, or at least not lose all of them, and work on that. But yeah, the only way this space is not going to move forward if the main thing that we're putting out is garbage. Now finally Wall Street and countries are interested, so we should really focus on how we have finally the opportunity to really change the world. Bitcoin, we've dreamt of this day that Putin, that Trump, and everyone would announce they would do Bitcoin. And then what does the crypto space do? We're all going to do memes. It's like, man, we only wanted to get to this point. And now it's like, hey, let's all go crazy on memes and podcasts and cats and dogs and all this crap, utter crap. It's like, it's so typical of we finally reach a pivotal moment, and then we all decide, hey, let's go wallow in the shit. Let's be even more degenerate. Instead of now really trying to push the Bitcoin. That's also why I wanted to push the idea for a Bitcoin party in my country. And I would recommend anyone in any country to do that. Set up a Bitcoin political party and start convincing your government to hold Bitcoin. If you want to change the future of the citizens of your country, the more Bitcoin your country will have, that will be great. Instead of dedicating your time, for example, only to memes and all that shit. So I think things definitely changed, and I think crypto Twitter got worse, but that's also normal because it got so much bigger. And a lot of quality people, they've retired, they're so rich.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, that we see a lot of OGs leaving the space, and we see a lot of people coming that are here just to make money. They don't care about, there is no charting against Bitcoin anymore. No one cares about accumulating Bitcoin. They just want to make money. So yeah, we're losing that side.
Well, there's nothing wrong with making money, but for example, I'm definitely always keeping Bitcoins also for my children, no matter what people tell me. And I'm keep them in multi-sig wallets, of course. And I told my wife, I said, if ever something happens to me, the last thing you have to sell to make sure in one case I'm not there and you have to survive is the Bitcoins, sell the little gold we have, sell the cash, sell the cars, because this is the future. If I had to choose one asset I would have to leave to my young children and be absolutely sure that it will be, well, you can be absolutely sure, but I would be sure that it would be worth a lot more and important. It's Bitcoin. So I would say my two biggest gifts to my children would be teaching them inner development, Bitcoin, and also if they ever inherit a property, a nice forest garden where daddy planted big fruit trees and nut trees, which are now 20, 30 years old because it takes a long time to grow a garden. Gold, who knows, maybe in 10 years we have starships from SpaceX and Musk start drawing in asteroids filled with gold, and gold will go to zero. In the ideas I had for a Bitcoin party, it says every country should change their gold reserves for Bitcoin. It's a better form of money. So I don't know, if I had to bet in 30 years what would be more valuable, Bitcoin or gold, I would bet on Bitcoin. But who knows? For me, Bitcoin stays one of the anchor points for at least resisting the toxic fiat system. And in that case, it kind of aligns with, not with inner work or spirituality, but the idea to be different, the idea that you're not going to be a slave of or your mind or what you've been taught or of the system or of the financial system, all lines. If you want to really work on yourself, you have to be different, because everyone around you will tell you, hey, Delta, have a drink. Hey, let's go out. Hey, let's go eat. Hey, just get a normal job. Hey, just do that. Hey, just do that. And if you want to say, hey, man, I don't want to drink. I want to work on myself. I don't want to use the kind of money. You're going to get to meditation, Bitcoin, that kind of stuff. And in the beginning, it's a lonely life. But then in time, you'll make other friends, like how we became friends. And you realize, hey, there's a lot of other people that are interested in this. And I have actually better friendships with them. So it's good I changed all that. So in a way, Bitcoin remains totally a beacon of freedom for a lot of aspects of the financial life, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really nice because even before you got to know about crypto, you were already aligned with it, the whole ideology side of things. So it's nice to have people like you around. So I want to talk about your life a little bit. You famously live on a mountain in rural Europe. What inspired you to leave the city for a more secluded area? And how has this lifestyle change affected your work and your personal life?
Well, have you ever been to a city?
Well, yeah. I live in a really big city right now.
Yeah, so
It's a very it sums it up.
yeah, I just tell people, go to a city, go to a mall, take the subway, and during that day, don't do anything. Just get a sandwich, take some water with you, don't go to a museum, don't get along, and just sit and observe. What do you see? And really feel around you, calm your mind, expand your awareness out. What do you feel? In a subway, in a busy mall, in a city, look at people, look at their eyes. When I was young, 22, I was in London, miserable, depressed. I was reading the Jeb McKenna books and all other spiritual books, and I spent weeks sitting in subways thinking, these metal worms filled with bones and blood come in the city miserable, go out of it miserable. These people look dull. I mean, the eyes, there's no light in their eyes. There's no health. What is going on here? It's like, this can't be existence. I said, I'd rather die than keep living like this. But I realized, hey, there's a way out through. And I left. I left everything. I left my girlfriend. I left my parents. I told them I won't be back in years. You won't hear from me. I took the last of my money, booked a ticket to a super cheap country, turned radically inside for years until I had figured out what I wanted to figure out, what's behind the eye, which can be figured out. And then I realized, hey, I'm just going to volunteer at different permaculture farms where I work physical labor, hard labor for free, but they will give me food and learn how to grow my own food, continue my inner practice. Because there's great things like Workaway, Helpex, where you can go visit all these farms for free. The people will feed you and you have to work for them. Now people will say, why would I go work for someone with free? That's not the point. You have to work 5-6 hours a day in a farm. You learn how to grow your own food. You're there, and the rest of the day you're free to work on yourself. I didn't have money back then, so I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity to continue my inner practice. And I quickly realized I will never live in a city again. I need nature. If I'm in places with too many humans too long, I live on the mountain, but I always visit cities. So I kind of come down from the mountain and visit cities to see how humanity is doing, what's going on with the body. Before I come down, I turn on what I call my energetic shield. I kind of project my inner power around me, and so I don't hear all this thinking and all these people's voices and all these energies from coming onto me, because I live in a very secluded place. But once you realize what is going on, how toxic some of these places are, then no wonder humanity is what it is. I sometimes wonder if an alien would come to this planet and beam down into a city. It's like, what is going on? Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And animals, plants, nature, silence. And I was like, man, this is great. I mean, in Amsterdam, you can buy a 50 square meter apartment and it will cost you $500,000. And here in the north of Spain, you can live with that money if you want your entire life,
Yeah.
So was kind of a no-brainer. And I also wanted to do retreats like really deep in nature, so I had to be somewhere remote. But,
yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about. Back when I was in Asia, this was like the most secluded area I've been to. I remember I visited Bangkok for the first couple of days, and it was just so overwhelming. So many people, huge city. And then I flew to a tiny island called Koh Phangan, and I spent around 2-3 months on that island. It's a tiny island with less than like 4,000 people. And I could definitely feel the difference in my daily life, just, my happiness, my energy levels, everything. It was just so much better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Even people that can't really feel, they feel it.
Yeah.
We're apes born in trees. You go back to nature. There is not a single person that goes from a city or swim in the ocean or goes to nature. There's a reason everyone goes on holiday to nature. So I was like, okay, why not turn around? I'll go live in nature and go on holiday in cities. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned inner development a couple of times, but inner development can mean different things to different people. How would you define inner development in your own words?
So inner development is the discovery that there is an entire inner world which you can discover. So usually we have our senses towards outward, towards observing on the outside things that are happening in the world, activities, external activities. You always need to do things, and you have to be things, and you have to work, and blah blah blah, and I'll do all that. Okay, inner development means finding out who is that person that is looking, who is that person that is feeling, what is behind that voice in your head that is talking to you. If you sit down and ask yourself, who am I? What is this I? And how is it possible that you can say to yourself, I am Delta? But at the same time, you're aware of that you're saying that, which means there's a difference between the one saying it and the one observing it. There's a difference between the content of consciousness and consciousness itself. So inner work exists of opening the door for yourself to finding out what this I, what your existence really is. And this can take, in conversations I have with people, usually two forms. One is the path almost no one takes, and it's a very radical path. It means turning inside really to only find out what the I is, Ramana Maharshi, Jeb McKenna, Richard Rose, so many spiritual teachers talk about it. You leave it all and you just start hammering down is who am I, until you discover that you can't even know that your consciousness is open enough and you realize you're everything, which takes years to do. It's a very high price to pay because you separate yourself from all your friends and emotional connections. Now, I've only met less than 5 people in the life that actually done it. And you get into a pretty different state of being. The second option, which I recommend to most people, is, so as I said, there's consciousness and there's the content of consciousness. The content of consciousness is your thinking, your feeling, and all your perceptions. And then you have consciousness itself, which can be called the void, God, the truth, whatever you want to call it. Now, in between, there's a glue. There's something like kind of in between the content of consciousness and consciousness itself, which is energy, bioelectric energy. The Chinese, they call it qi. Now, through your body, this energy flows, this qi flows. It flows through your acupuncture channels, which are called nadis in India. And once you calm your mind down enough, you can feel this energy in your body, or you can go to an acupuncturist which measure this. But once you know how to feel this energy, you start feeling really calm. You can massively improve your health. You become intuitive. You can make love to your wife or husband on a much deeper level. So a lot of people don't want to leave it all. And I said, no, you don't need to leave it all. If you really want to be content, if you really want to have this feeling like which most people only have when they have an orgasm, this electric release, or when they're on ecstasy, if you want to feel a calm, balanced state of mind, where you're really at ease of yourself, you're intuitive, you're radiant, your eyes are bright, get into energy work. Energy work means learning how to open your energy channels, which you can do through Taoist practice, Buddhist practice, all different energy practices. I always recommend courses from, for example, Mantak Chia, from Adam Meisner, Damo Mitchell, all kind of different Taoist yogi masters you can find. So that's energy work. So inner development is literally the opposite of outer development. So everyone in crypto is screen, coins, being busy, getting cars, getting rich, outside, which women I'm going to get, which man I'm going to get, this and that, such and so, I'm going to do this and that. Okay. I'm saying, hey, you have an entire inner world to discover, to develop. Inner development.
Yeah. Until a couple of years ago, I was such a big disbeliever in anything that has to do with alternative medicine and, anything that has to do with the spiritual side of studies of the body and the mind and soul and everything. And this relates to acupuncture, like I said, because my uncle had a really bad back, a really had injury in his back. And they tried to do surgery, it didn't work. He had to take pills for years upon years, and it started getting so bad that he could barely walk. And then he went to this Chinese medicine place, and they put the needles into his back and feet and arms and everything. And he told me that the day after, he felt like he's 20 years younger. And ever since then, he rarely has to take a painkiller or something, and it actually helped him. And that was for me, my first real sign that, there's something to it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine never having been in a waterfall and you're standing over it and you're feeling this amazing flow of water over your body, or jumping into a beautiful ocean, this feeling. Now imagine having that feeling on the inside, that flow. Most people only get it with orgasm. It's because most people their emotions and stress block the inner flow of energy. So a lot of people, they doubt if this energy stuff even exists. Now, I get people here, we do an exercise 5 minutes and they're like, whoa, I can feel the energy in my hands. I say, this is not strange. You don't know this. No one is teaching you this in school. And if, for example, I said, hey, Delta, did you ever have alcohol in your life? And you say no. I said, well, Delta, if I give you whiskey, you're going to get drunk. And you're like, what's drunk being like? Well, you're going to feel all dizzy and nice. Yeah, I don't know what's like. Okay. Drink 2 glasses of whiskey, let me know. And you're like, whoa, okay. So what you need is direct experience, right? Now people are not going to have direct experience if they don't know the technique. If no one is giving you, let's say, a glass of, hey, learn how to feel energy and exercise, or tells you, even like the Buddha did, he would tell people, hey, sit down, close your eyes, be silent. People are like, why? They just do it. And the ones that did it became more content. So this is something you have to practice. And yes, of course, it exists because there's a reason for thousands of years in all esoteric traditions and in China that they're all using this. That there's no doubt about it. Everyone knows that there's more to life than just being a physical sack of meat and bones. And the people that say, no, this is not the case, and say, okay, where do you go when you sleep? Well, I'm not there, but you're dreaming. Okay, and then who's dreaming? Well, I'm there, I'm not there, I'm kind of there. I have all these things going on. Yeah, but you're lying there sleeping, How is this possible? So there's many, many different levels of inner existence, which we don't get taught, which is also the whole point of our education system, the fiat system, is to keep people enslaved. Don't look inside because you run after money all the time. Don't look inside, use our money. Don't look inside, buy all this stuff to be happy. It's part of the slavery. So I think one of the reasons my account also grew a bit is that a lot of Bitcoiners, they like freedom. They like the idea of freedom and not being enslaved by the money system, but they still feel enslaved by themselves. So they're like, hey, I'm now free with Bitcoin, but I'm still imprisoned in my own mind. So I tell them, hey, get going with energy work, inner development, and you'll also realize your own freedom.
Yeah. So you're talking about people now, which is a really good point I wanted to ask you about. So you've been educating and working with people about the psychological and mental aspects for a long time. What do you see or what do you feel is the most common issue that people face in this area?
Well, it's their own impatience. It's their own impatience because they're incapable of thinking long term. They think 5 or 10 years is a lot, which is not. Because if you live healthy, you can live until you're 80. Most people are here in their 20s or in their 30s. So why do you have to make it in 1 year? To prove it to your crypto friends? No, be patient. You can develop your own happiness on the inside while doing crypto, while buying some Bitcoin with your salary, while doing 1 or 2 hours of trading every day. So the biggest hurdle for most of the people in the space is that they get all hyped up by this whole crypto Twitter thing, to be impatient, to be fast, to not think for themselves. But I receive people here sometime and I'm like, they can't even sit down for 5 minutes. It's like they always need to do something. They're so impatient with us, so that they're their own worst enemy. Also, when I went to this crypto conference, it's like, it's almost as everyone is wearing a cross of burdening weight on their souls of all the suffering they've gone through just to be in this space.
Yeah, it's funny for me to imagine you going to a crypto conference. It seems like the furthest thing away from you.
Oh, I loved it, man. I had a blast. I just seeing it, I was like, I actually had to laugh. My wife's like, hey, how was it? I was like, really good. I didn't go a lot. The great thing is also I want to stay, of course, anonymous, so nobody knows who I am, which is great. Which I would recommend to people because you don't want all the bullshit of being a famous crypto person. And I was walking around and I was like, okay, I'm not surprised I made some money trading to these people because a lot of them are so messed up. It's like, Jesus, like, wow. But then at the same time, there's a lot of super intelligent people working on amazing things, especially in Solana. That's why I keep my Solana very bullish on it. I went to talk to some friends I made in crypto, amazing people, all very interested in the development also. So I don't go there to judge people. I go to observe for myself and to see what I can learn, what I can help. And there's fantastic people. And if I see all these super smart people there, amazing people, I know crypto is the future. Bitcoin is the future. If everyone would dedicate 1% of their time to some inner development, most of them would also become very happy. So that would be even more amazing. Then everyone in the world would be like, whoa, these people that do Bitcoin, they're also happy. I mean, there's really something going on. These are not some weird, miserable nerds that just want to go to Dubai and fuck and do whatever they want to do. These are actually pretty balanced and happy people. And that would be beneficial for the crypto space because people would be like, hey, we can actually change the money system and also be content. Because if the money system collapses and Bitcoin is the future, we're going to be in for some very nasty times. I know the dollar is not going to lay down that easily. And any change in the monetary system or any change of empire is always ugly. So to resist that, to be able to live through these times, to hold on to your Bitcoins, to stay true to your ideals, you need mental and inner strength, which you don't get from trading meme coins. You get it from taking yourself serious with inner work.
Yeah. So for those listening who want to start working on their inner self, what first steps would you recommend them to take?
Or at least sit in silence twice a day, half an hour. Or do an energy practice twice a day, half an hour. There's many things in my profile. So that's one. Okay, so let's sum it up. You want to start working on yourself. Okay. 1. When you wake up, sit in silence half an hour. Before you go to bed, sit in silence half an hour. If you have more time during the day, sit in silence. 2. Once you can sit in silence a bit, start learning about energy. Then start incorporating the energy practice into your silence practice. Do this every day. Then take enough breaks from screen time. I know. If you're physically not fit, take away all devices, get healthy, start doing exercise, the basic stuff. I don't talk too much about all the physical stuff because everyone always does that, but it's pretty obvious. There's things I recommend for your health is fasting, taking chaga, magnesium so you can sleep. For me, that's just the basics. Get that in order and then start sitting in silence. And then, look, for example, at my website, the books I recommend, get going. What do you just want to be happy, do energy work or anything? But to begin, the basics is to be able to sit in silence and to be able to feel energy. And then once you can do that, it's the same as if I give you a glass of whiskey and you never had alcohol, you're going to be like, whoa, what is this? It's like, I've never done this. Now I can actually feel it. And then you'll get what I'm talking about. I'm inviting people to open the door for experiences they never had. Once you've had them, you'll do it every day. I sit down every day and I love it. I look forward to it. It's like a drug. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. And it really disciplines the mind. You see Bitcoin racing to 60K now and people, I wish I bought a 50K. I don't even have that voice in my head. I'm just looking at it. I don't even see the numbers anymore. It's like zero emotional impact, which is very useful if you do want to make some money,
Yeah, it sounds like something everyone should do because, I'm sure it helps with self-control and just containing emotions when you have to and, everything that has to do with that.
Yeah. One second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I wanted to ask you about the darkroom retreats. You mentioned it earlier, and I know that a lot of people are interested in this type of thing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so once you take your development over the years to a higher level, which means you're physically at ease with yourself, you're mentally at ease with yourself, you're energetically at ease with yourself, your acupuncture channels are open. You've been doing Buddhist or Taoist practice, whatever you want to do. You can start doing exercises where you deprive yourself of sensory input. Now, question one, of course, is always, why would I do that? Because you'll be able to delve even deeper into yourself and experience states which most people only get when they take ayahuasca, for example. Now, I had people here that got really messed up by ayahuasca or certain hallucinatory drugs, but most people...
Ayahuasca is hard. It's almost horrible in a certain sense.
Well, people have good experiences with it, but they don't know that the DMT, which creates these experiences, you can also have in a darkroom retreat. So in Thailand, for example, in the Universal Healing Tao Center, you can go under guidance and you go 5 days or 10 days or how long, what level you're at. Usually you begin with a week. You're totally in the dark. You mostly eat algae and certain vitamins. And during that week, you do exercises, meditative exercises, which teach you kind of how to feel consciousness almost outside of your body. And during the week, because you're deprived of the light, the DMT start building up, so you get similar experiences. And after, I have a cabin in the back of my garden, which is very dark. There's no electricity. I sleep there half of the week, because one day I sleep there, and then one day I sleep with my wife, and one day I do. I always tell people, don't always sleep every day with the same person, because you just don't want to do that to keep magnetic attraction. That's another subject. So in that dark cabin, I do 10-day retreats on my own. I do it in a fasted state, but I wouldn't recommend it for beginners. But what basically happens is that after 5 or 6 days, the first days is tough. You know, your mind resists. There's not a lot of input. So you kind of start struggling. You kind of feel like, what's going on?
That sounds hard.
It is really hard. This is tough. This is something you only want to do. I can't emphasize this enough. If you're a beginner, do not do this. Only after a while, when you're really into meditative practices, you can try with a couple of days. And then after 5 or 6 days in the dark, your DMT levels start going up and suddenly there's light. It's like as if someone turned on the light. You close your eyes and it's just white. It's like, hey, it's light. It's amazing. And you can close your eyes and you don't feel your body anymore. It's just a feeling of ecstasy, being outside your body. And I put always a timer to when it's over, because you totally lose track of where you are, who you are. You know, it can't be described in words. It's totally out of body experience.
Yeah, it sounds insane.
To come back, you have to tap for a day, put on like one of these airplane masks, slowly get used to the light again. But if you dive really deep in it, you realize there's even more levels inside yourself than just the energy level. There's astral levels, etheric levels.
Yeah.
And, I can really recommend to people, if they have a regular meditative practice and are interested in this, the first retreat you do it guided, and do it in the Universal Healing Tao Center in Thailand, where there's an amazing building where you can do it, and they explain to you the exercises and all that.
Mm-hmm. It's almost, I feel like one of the things that probably deters people from dealing with and delving into the whole inner development world is probably fear, because it sounds scary. And I mean, I've done psychedelic drugs a couple of times in my life, and it can get scary when you're dealing with yourself and with your inner emotions and your inner self. So yeah. It's a very scary thing to get to know yourself sometimes.
People always say, you have to be brave to be a top athlete, or be the Red Bull guy who jumps from a huge balloon in a suit down into the atmosphere, or you have to be brave to go on the ocean on yourself, or you have to be brave to face threats. that's all child's play in comparison to really sitting down and diving in yourself. There's a reason so few people in history turn inside. There's a reason our entire civilization has so few spiritual esoteric practices. There's a reason out of millions of people in the country, very few deal with this kind of stuff. It's super scary. I mean, when I started first closing my eyes and meditating, the things that come out, how it affects your dreams, the garbage we accumulate in our subconscious, in our unconscious, then realizing, as the Tibetans, Buddhists, Taoists have also realized, that very subtle parts of your consciousness actually move through different lives and different bodies. How we're all connected, how every thought we ever had can influence what happens afterwards. So this is very scary stuff. And then we're not even talking about taking it to the next level and realizing that a lot of things we thought was not even possible are actually possible. You know, I trained with masters and they said, Tim, tonight I'll see you in your dream. I'm like, what? And he told that to all the people he was training. And that night I was in a dream and he said, hey, how are you doing? And then the next day he told everyone, okay, I saw you there in your dream. Oh yeah, Tim, you remember we were sitting on the couch there? And I'm like, how is he doing this? How is he doing this? How's this possible? So there's many things we don't know and can discover. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds insane. Well, I want to ask you, what has been your biggest realization in life so far? Psychological, spiritual, physical, crypto related or not, that you feel like has significantly changed your perspective to life?
Is that nothing what I ever thought I really was is actually what I am. And that means once I really start realizing after 2 years of relentless battle with myself and reading inner books and suffering and being burned out and being sick, that there's so much more. There's so much more to life. There's so much, and it was such a mind-blowing crush to my ego to realize that I did not know anything about myself, that I was living my life as a slave to myself, to everything which has been put into me. Yeah. So that was a mind-blowing realization. If you realize that Bitcoin is totally different than the money system, it's not such a big deal for your life. It's like 1 second, like I'm going 1 second. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no worries.
go outside because it's making noise.
Now that's a good dad. Just a reminder to everyone, if you have any questions to Tim, you can click on the bottom right corner on the chat icon and leave any questions, and we're going to go over them in a couple of minutes. And if anyone wants to come up and ask any questions, just request to be speaker, and yeah, we'll let you in. soundboard. Holy shit. This is amazing. And yeah, a reminder to everyone, I mentioned it earlier, if you didn't check the IDEX account yet, if any traders are listening, you can go to the IDEX Discord, you can join the whitelist and join the trading competition that we're running right now. This is the last stage of the trading competition with 500,000 IDEX tokens in rewards. You're trading paper money, and if you get on the leaderboard, you win real money. There's also swag packs for giveaway with, I can't remember who the people that we worked with to create them are, but if you go to the IDEX account, you can see who those are. You can win some cool t-shirts, hats, sweaters, stuff like that. So yeah, check that out while we wait for 10.
I'm here. Hello.
Welcome back, Tim. I found out that I can make sound.
Oh, what happened? You didn't hear me, or what happened?
I didn't hear you, no.
Oh.
I just heard you now. Were you speaking this whole time?
No, I was just hearing strange noises from you, like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I found out you can make sounds with the Spaces thing.
Oh, right. Well, okay, let's continue.
Yeah. Yeah, so let me see. When I don't remember where we stopped. We were talking about the thing that changed your life. You were saying the realization.
Yeah, we changed my perspective.
Yeah. So you were saying that basically that you are not who you think you are.
Yeah, it's what basically every esoteric tradition says, you know. It's like you're not your small sense of self. You can go much deeper than that. So that to really realize that is a big thing, you know. If you realize that you've not been living your life, that is so much more. It's just shocking. But a lot of Bitcoiners are open to this idea because they already went through the transition of, hey, fiat money is just shit and there's something better. A lot of Bitcoiners are always very open-minded to new things because they already made the transition from a very established paradigm, fiat, to something else, which is Bitcoin. So basically moving from the very established paradigm that you're only a small sense of self, that you're only that voice in your head, to there's a lot more inner work and energy is not such a big deal for most people. Everyone I had here to come visit, they can feel energy, they're open to new things, they start improving their life. It's not such a big deal.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit unrelated, but I wanted to ask you, before we move on to the last question, which I think will be interesting to hear your perspective on. I wanted to go back to crypto a little bit and ask you, so you're mentioning a lot about, talking about Bitcoin, and you're specifically talking about Bitcoin where, comparing it to the financial system and talking about how it's aligning with your lifestyle and your beliefs. Do you see, or do you feel like you could say the same about Ethereum, for example, or specifically Ethereum? Let's focus on that. Or do you feel like it's something that only Bitcoin can get the credit for?
I think only Bitcoin can get the credit for it because I think Solana is better than Ethereum, for example, and it's faster at least. And Ethereum is great, of course. It's the old basis of DeFi. But if you want to talk about changing civilization, having the hardest form of money, then it will always be Bitcoin. And I think Ethereum does not encapsulate these ideals. It will be part of the system. Like Ethereum and Solana are like what silver is to gold. It gets used, but what's being out is there along. What has the most value? It's gold. The same, compare it to inner work. What's the gold standard of inner work? Meditation, sitting in silence. Then it's people do some yoga. But Ethereum is kind of more going to one of these yoga studios where these city moms are kind of like stretching and thinking they're working on yourselves. That's kind of like Ethereum, what it is. Well, the real thing is sitting down in silence by yourself. The same as with Bitcoin. The hardest money, the hardest.
No wonder I'm losing money owning Ethereum, because I would choose the yoga studio over the meditation. God damn it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's great. It's great. A lot of layer twos are great, but everyone knows why are countries considering buying so much Bitcoin? Because it's the hardest form of money. They're not interested in stocking Ethereum. I mean, also because no one is paying with crypto. Ethereum is not fast enough to run all the transactions in the world. Not Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is the hardest form of money, as you can store it. Layer 2, Solana is much better. I mean, every time I do a Solana transaction, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, we see it now as well again. Look how hard Solana is recovering. Maybe other layer 2s. Who knows, something better will come. Another layer 2 can become better, but won't be like won't have the same basis.
But Bitcoin will always stay Bitcoin. I really doubt that anything will, steal the prestige of Bitcoin as being the hardest money type thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, talking about the crypto itself, where do you think we are at the cycle right now? Because I do remember seeing a week ago, around 65K, 66K, you sold half of everything you own, just like you have in 2017, thinking that, you want to be prepared in case something bad happens. What is your position right now?
Well, my position is still 50-50.
Yeah.
Now I look at the market and I'm like, of course, one has to realize that having a voice in one's head is one thing, and listening and being aware of it and acting on it is another thing. So this is once again the difference between consciousness and the content of consciousness. So yes, of course, my voice in my mouth says, like, dude, why didn't you deploy that 50% again at the bottom? It's up 20%. Solana's up 50%. I just ignore it because this cycle I bought Bitcoin around 19K, I bought Solana at 30, I bought a lot of alts. A lot of alts didn't do really well. I had certain things went wrong. But
most alts are right around where they were before the run started. It's crazy.
Yeah, so we're in this agonizing range, in this agonizing bull flag. And I do think it's going to go a lot higher. I do think this bull market is not over at all. I do think we'll reach 100K and higher. I do think most people will get screwed over again, thinking we're going to go into some super cycle. I just temporarily parked the money there because I saw some threats, which is one, the Iran-Israel war, which really seems to want to break out one day. Second, Buffett parking so much cash and this recession fears, which of course was a good reason. Then it collapsed. I kind of tweeted that 2 days later collapsed, and everyone was like, how did you know that? I just felt also I'm going to have a third child. I was all in on crypto. I only had 5,000 on the bank. I always keep everything in crypto. But and I just felt, okay.
How do you do that? I want to ask that personally, because I have most of my money, depending on what stage we're at, right? The higher we go, the more is allocated in banks and vice versa. But at this stage, for example, right now, more than half is cashed out because I cash out as price goes higher. Unlike most, I lower my leverage the higher the price goes.
Well done.
Yeah, and the thing is that I never feel so comfortable when most of my money is in crypto. It's much scarier. It's, the fluctuations are much on your net worth, are much, I don't know, feel much heavier. And yeah, it's really hard for me personally, and I'm sure that some people in the audience will resonate with that, to hold a lot of my net worth in crypto, especially when it's 95+%. Do you not sometimes feel that?
No, because once BlackRock announced they're going to get into Bitcoin, I was like, okay, that's really fine to just put it there.
Yeah.
There's so much money. Now that BlackRock and Morgan Stanley all on board, they're like, hey, Bitcoin is part of Wall Street. So So if I could keep it in USD, I might as well keep it in Bitcoin as well. I just temporarily cashed out 50% because I saw downside risk, which I was correct on. I didn't buy the bottom, but we'll see how this goes. I just want to sit out these volatile months, August and September. I want to see if we do definitely break above all-time high. I want to see if the war between Iran and Israel doesn't escalate, and I want to see real confirmation that there's not going to be a recession. Once that's the case, I will redeploy my 50%, which will be, or we break down below 50K again, or to like probably 44K support, or we definitely break on the weekly above all-time high. We get a weekly candle to 80K, fine. I'll buy Bitcoin, Solana again, and all the stuff. But I still have 50% in. But what I just do is I keep my Bitcoin or USDT on a multi-sig wallet. There's many good providers. And I just send it to an exchange and then just send it to a payment app, to my bank or to Revolut or to whatever you want to use. I don't have a mortgage. I have everything paid off. So I just send money there when I need it. And and then for example, in 2022, when kind of the bear market started and things went really bad, I did park a lot of money in USD with my bank, and my private bank is always pissed off because she's like, you're just using us to stall the dollars, and then within a couple of months you always pull it out again and it goes to some account in Kraken or Bybit or whatever, and she's like, how can you do that? I said, let's just go for lunch. And then this private banker woman had like all funny prepared for she said, oh, I know something about crypto. I've been looking into Ethereum. Why do you use our bank as a stalling station? But I've been saving all the communication with them because they always try to shut me down and say I can't do that. And I said, if you sue me while I'm just doing everything legal, I have everything documented, so you can't do anything. So I kind of have them by the balls, and it's kind of funny. I kind of play with them a bit because like I park my money there when I need it. So I kind of use the fiat system, as one would call, as my bitch, or Bitcoin is the future. I'll keep most of my money there. Now I just temporarily parked some in USDT, a multi-sig platform, some in USD until I deploy it again. But the USD I just keep it on exchange, USDT multi-sig wallet, and It's the same with the inner development. So you have to do a daily practice and be committed. You're committed to changing the world with Bitcoin, fine. Then keep most of your money in Bitcoin. And I think now Wall Street is on board. If people would go back when I started doing crypto, or some people listening here, I can see the list who've been in crypto much longer than I have. If you would post in 2017 or 20 that Putin would allow Bitcoin, that Trump would consider building a national reserve, that BlackRock has 40 billion in Bitcoin, people would be like, wow. I mean, the price of Bitcoin must be at $500,000. And you would tell them, no, it's 58K. They'd be like, what the fuck happened?
Exactly. It's
high. It's like, how can
it's like the Kobe tweet where he said someone would have told me you've had 10 billion flows into Bitcoin ETF, I would have guessed the price was at least 100,000.
It's like, is anyone still doubting this going to be the same market cap as gold? No one. I mean, Harry Fink, everyone is saying this. Maybe Kamala Harris will become president and then we get all that bullshit again. And maybe, but still, I mean, there is no doubt anymore. So you would post it many years ago and you would that. So still, buy Bitcoin, relax, take it easy, become happy, and you can still make a lot of money with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But you have to have some balls and commitment. And how are you able to hold on to your coins long term? How are you able to play your long term cycle? How are you able to be content? How are you able to not go to the buy and lose yourself? How are you able to not get hooked on running with your money after every pair of tits or nice dick you see? How do you not end up with the yacht and all the superficiality? How do you prevent getting burnout from screen time? Outer development, inner development. Take yourself serious. Be grateful for the consciousness which is being given to you in an ape body, which is a massive gift. Not every animal receives this kind of consciousness. Not every being which comes into this world or any animal is as advanced as we are. Why all the time look at AI when we know so little about ourselves? So take your own development serious, and you'll make more than enough happiness for yourself. And in the meantime, you'll make a shitload of money. I would have never made the money I would have made from that 10,000. I would have been burned out 10 times, lost it all, if I didn't have the mental discipline. Never. It just
100%. I feel like it's the most important thing. Mental and emotional discipline is the most important thing when it comes to investing and trading, I think.
I mean, just talking to you can feel your voice is kind of calm. You're cashing out more the more it goes up. You don't do leverage. You learned your lesson. How did you learn that?
Oh yeah, I got burned a couple of times until I learned it, and we've all been there. And I feel like it's a part of the route. You have to go through that.
And I mean, you've been in the space for years. This doesn't just happen in a year, It's
you have to push through. Yeah.
And also, and more importantly, you've also changed your role in this platform. That's the reason why I do my first or interview spaces with you, because I don't join so many spaces invites. But you share, you contribute to this space, quality spaces, providing quality info, and that's what we need instead of all this garbage and all these memes. And then that's why this week I came back. I was like, you know what? It's fine. Why not prevent some people from killing themselves? Why not spread some good info?
Yeah. Well, I really do appreciate it, Tim. It means a lot. Well, we can go ahead to the last question. Just a final reminder. I don't think we're going to let any speakers in because unless it's someone who's a mutual and wants to join on the stage, because we have a lot of different projects and stuff requesting, and I just can't be bothered to filter who's real and who's going to try shilling something. So if any mutuals want to request and speak, feel free to do so. If you have any questions, just leave them at the bottom right corner and we'll touch them in a minute. But yeah, Tim, this is the last question I have for you. And it's going to be very interesting to see what your perspective on it. But how would you define making it in the context of your life and career? But just generally, how would you define making it? And do you feel like you've made it?
Making it is when you feel, know, and directly perceive with every fiber of your being that there's nothing to make. And that is the profound realization which inner work provides. Now, in the future, and through thousands of years of esoteric human history. It means being able to see and perceive directly that you are one with everything. And that achievement is nothing. Like the Buddha said, I have gained absolutely nothing. But being able to directly perceive that is so profound that it dwarfs any achievement in comparison. It's not even an achievement. It is the basic fundamental essence of what you are. Not the content of consciousness. Consciousness itself. Being able to look at a screen, at a person, at a tree, and seeing a depth in it which you can't perceive, knowing that everything is the same one thing which can be put into words. And realizing that is the ultimate goal of humans on this planet. This is what the sages and masters have been talking about. So as you ask, making it in the content of your life is not being happy, is not having money, is not having a career, being president, whatever. It's realizing who you are and what that I is made of.
Oh, that's beautiful. And when I listen when I listen to you talk, I feel like I'm listening to an Alan Watts tape.
Yeah, he's
Very,
good. I like his.
he's amazing. He's one of
If
my
you like
favorite.
Alan Watts, I would highly recommend you listen to Richard Rose. He's already dead, but there's some talks of him on the internet. I love his books. He's also the
Yeah,
guy that taught Jem McKenna, for example. And
yeah. Just like this answer to the last question just felt like I'm listening to an Alan Watts tape. It's brilliant. Yeah, I love those. I don't know if to call them philosophers even, but it's a very yeah, very interesting field of study, that's for sure.
the funny thing is, we're all, in a way, philosophers and all that, but philosophy is not studying some theories and all that. Philosophy, real philosophers, do the work. I have a friend, a rare friend, who came to me through another friend who was very lost after an ayahuasca trip, and he started doing Tao training like I've never seen anyone do it. And he's now getting to a level where I'm like, wow, serious training, 5 hours a day, turning inside energy practices. And you would see this person 5 years ago, you would see him now, you'd be like, what happened? It's like he's aligning his own energy, he can feel it, he's balanced, he's strong, he's healthy, suddenly he has a better job, he had the discipline to buy in the bear market in crypto, he's just holding on to his coins, for example. Now suddenly his life partner appeared. Things are going better for him. Once you align your energy well, this universe is pliable and amazing things will happen. And it will, but it takes serious effort. Take your consciousness seriously, take the universe seriously, and it will respond because it is what you are. Your perception, your state of being influences everything what you see and do. So this this is real achievement, and I've seen very few people do it, but the ones that have done it have gone through horrendous suffering. This guy went through horrendous suffering. The guy who lost 61 million in stake Luna, he's now all the time on retreat with the little money he had left, which was like a million, 1.2 million. He was like, Tim, I started with 5K, I had 61 million, but now I only have 1.2 million. I said, you turned 5K into 1.2 million. That's still a
Yeah,
shitload.
exactly.
Well, he's doing like all these retreats. And I said, why didn't I do this when I just had 5K? I said, well, that's you had to go through the suffering. You need the suffering. And I can tell you one thing, like crypto space equals suffering. That's why it's so insane. But great, great. Let's suffer and
I mean,
observe and inside, and it's great.
yeah, I reached that conclusion a long time before you said that, when I realized I'm suffering every single day that I log in on this app.
Uh, but
And long Ethereum.
you're contributing, brother, and you're providing value, and you have a
No,
proper
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I feel like I'm only shit posting all day long, but if anyone finds any value in the things that I do, I love it. So yeah, let me take a look at the comment section if we have any question. We have a small news asking you, Tim, what's your favorite fruit? What to you is the meaning of suffering? Two questions.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't hear the first one.
What is your favorite fruit?
My favorite, what? Groot?
Fruit.
My favorite fruit. Well, I grow persimmons, Japanese persimmons. They're also
Oh
called
wow.
kakis, and you pick them like in September, October when you ripe, and then it's like an art with a little knife. You peel off the outside, and then you take a spoon, and it's just, oh my god, it's like it's so good. My wife and I have a whole ritual. She like prepares them. We sit down in the garden, and then my daughter's already, which you just heard screaming downstairs because she has diarrhea and feels bad. Man, she's happy. And she's like, kaki, 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 wee. So yeah, that's my favorite fruit, persimmon.
Nice. And the second question is, what to you is the meaning of suffering?
The meaning of suffering is to wake up. To wake up and turn inside, like everyone said in throughout history. That's why you're suffering, to turn inside. not to get rich, not to get happy, to turn inside, to figure out who is suffering. It's not the suffering that's the big problem, because if the suffering was that bad, you'd already kill yourself. So you're suffering to learn something. What's that? Well, that apparently the life you're leading, apparently the way you're leading your life, which is shit because you're suffering, is not the way you should do it. You're kind of on a road filled with spikes and zombies everywhere and toxic shit. And there's a sign everywhere that says, take this road. There, you can be happy. You just keep going on the road of suffering until you suffer so much. You say, you know what? I'm going off this road. I'm going to follow this sign. The signpost is suffering. The signpost that humanity is not content or in any very developed state is that there's collective suffering everywhere. So that's the meaning of suffering, to turn inside.
Yeah, it's a beautiful answer. We have Zedigen with a very long name that I can't go through, asking a pretty long question. I stumbled a little late into the space and I'm happy that I found this. It truly helps. My question to Tim is, did you achieve this level of enlightenment or energy before or after making some money? Personally, I feel that money helps in stressing less when worrying about food, bills, etc. How do you overcome that fear and still maintain the feeling of positive alignment? Are they relevant?
Well, I get that question so often. Let me first say that I abandoned everything, literally everything. My family, my girlfriend, when I was 22, I was suffering for years, and I went away alone to a very cheap place. I only had $1,000 for a year. I caught my own fish, I had a bag of rice, and the only thing I did was meditate and turn inside. So we can, for once and for all, put an end to the questions. If I needed money to reach the state, this was not the case. If you download on my website, my book, if you go to the article section, there's the entire story how I got to the mountain when I was 26.
Oh, you have a book?
Yeah, if you go to my website, innerdevelopment.net, and there's a section with articles, and on the top there's a book which you can download for free, and it basically is my journey from 18 until 26, until I got to this mountain, all my struggles and what I recommend.
Oh,
and
wow.
basically, I was profoundly content. Honestly, as I said, I was just sitting in the garden. I sent out this wish that something else should come, and crypto came along. But I never lost myself mentally, emotionally in this space or anything like that, because I already had it before. You know, I find it interesting. It's a fun show. I'm good at it. I could make way more money doing short-term trading, but I was content pretty quickly. So I decided quickly to just contribute and help people, which I thought, oh, that's nice. Can do it anonymously, help people. It's great. And of course, let's emphasize, if you have a bit more material wealth, a good bed, a good house, some healthy food, of course, that's going to improve your physical state of being. If you're in a mine working in Africa and you're totally getting unhealthy, then you don't have time to sit down and meditate a lot. I get that. But still, most people who are listening, they have the basics. They can go to a job in the morning, or, for example, you wake up at 7, meditate an hour, read half an hour, go to your job, and then come back and meditate and dedicate a couple of years of really, really doing that. And you'll massively improve your life and your inner peace, even with a job. And then once you get more money, well, you can put it into crypto or do something else. But we can end the questions about that more money will make it easier to turn inside. I honestly don't believe that, because
it comes back to what we spoke about earlier, that people think once they have money, their life will change or it will be easier to do stuff.
All the sages in the world, all these masters, I trained with real masters. These guys, what they want is dedication, you know. I spent months with a Tao master on top of a mountain. We would jump in a cold river every morning, wake up at 5 in the morning, slaughter our own rabbits to eat, pick fruit, do these kind of things. You think these people that are really serious about turning inside are going to say, oh, you need to be comfy or whatever? This is super tough. People will think that inner development is like, oh, we're going to download an app and meditate a bit and be happy. Well, then you're kind of like the Ethereum housewives who are doing the yoga in a yoga studio, and they're thinking they're doing the same thing as some kind of sage. You're not, you know. It's like the difference between a 3-star restaurant and McDonald's. You know, going through a drive-through is not the same as someone who's prepared you a meal for 5 hours. So, yes, to get a bit more comfy with the basics, of course, money is useful. But most people have these basics and they just use it as an excuse, and they say, well, if I have 1 million, I'm going to turn inside. Well, now I have 1 million. I actually need 2 million because then I can sit for 30 minutes in the morning in silence. Well, if I have all my finances perfectly arranged, well, then I can finally turn inside. The nice thing is that when you finally your finances perfectly arranged, you're going to be so messed up. You're going to be so worried and why to stall all this money. You're going to be so stressed from all the screen time and the crazy memes that you don't even know where to begin anymore. So you might as well begin today and just sit down and take yourself seriously, because otherwise, even with millions, you're not going to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, that's a good note to end on. Sorry to everyone who requested, and I rejected them. It's just that there's so many different projects and meme coins requesting to speak to chill their things. So, yeah, not
we
gonna
don't
happen.
do that. I want to
Yeah.
emphasize to listeners, if you have a serious question, if you're struggling with something serious, or if on your inner practice or anything, my DM is always open, but I get a lot of messages, so please be concise. And if you're a meme shitter or anything like that, yeah, I'm sorry, you'll get blocked. That's
Yeah.
not
Good. Well, so before we end, I just wanted to remind everyone, IDEX competition, last stage, you trade fake money, win real money or merch. So check that out if you're into trading. And yeah, Tim, thank you so much for coming. I feel like this was one of the most special space we've had so far, which is not just crypto related. I feel like I learned a lot, and I'm sure that the listeners have as well. So yeah, really appreciate it. Do you have anything else you want to add before we?
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
And yeah, it's really, really kind of you to invite me. I'm happy to see that you're on a good path and that's always going well, and that you have a good strategy for crypto, that you contribute to the space. And I would say to everyone, right, we all love crypto, we love this community, we're here for Bitcoin. Let's try to contribute, start posting, be original, contribute what you feel, look inside, and really see how you can contribute a bit to the space. And if we all do that, then we can make this a much nicer space. And
Exactly.
what you're doing, hosting good guests. I listened to a couple of your other spaces sessions. This is very valuable, and a lot of people should also do that. And you have my very big gratitude and thanks for that. And if you ever want to come visit the mountain just as friends, please let me know.
I'm already planning that. So yeah.
People don't know. We have never talked before. We never met before. This is the first time, and I really, really enjoyed this. And
yeah, me too, man.
I'm sending you a very big hug and a lot of love. And awesome. Thank you.
Me too. So yeah, guys, make sure to check Tim's profile. It's one of the most unique accounts on crypto Twitter, in my opinion. A lot of good insight. Even if you're interested in trading, he has a lot of information about trading as well and his strategies. Make sure to check his website and check his profile. Give him a follow. So let's give it up for Tim. I'm going to use my collapse button. There we go. That's amazing. I didn't know that this exists. So yeah, guys, to everyone who missed a part of the episode, the recording will be available the moment we finish this one. And there will be notes available on Monday as well. So check my account on Monday around the US Open. I'll post the notes from the episode with Tim. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks so much for coming. Thank you, Tim, for coming. It's been a pleasure. And to all of our listeners, 30 episodes. It's been a pleasure to host each and every one with you guys. Thank you for coming. And yeah, see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Cheers, Tim.
Cheers, man. Bye.